In this next segment, I want to talk to you guys about riffs in songs, you know, how to create songs, how I like to create songs, you know, a good starting point. I kind of find that, you know, I come to songs all different kind of ways, honestly. I mean, sometimes you get pages and pages of lyrics that come to you, or, you know, you've been working on poetry. Sometimes it can start from a guitar riff and you try to build from that, or chord structure. For me, I find that the most successful songs that I've written are the ones that just come the easiest when I start with a melody or a hook. Because those are honestly, I think, the hardest thing to get in a song. How do you make a song catchy and memorable? Well, you know, it's the hook. You want that to get stuck in people's heads, and you know, melody, something they can sing along to. So when I create a song, sometimes I might have the vocal melody, sometimes it could be a guitar line that I just don't know how to place it yet, but you know, you can build chord structures around the melody. So for me, that's a great place to start, and you know, always having catchy lyrics are great, but the melody, I feel like that's the thing people are going to gravitate towards. You know, I think when I'm doing guitar solos around something like that, I like to play off of the melodic motif in the song. I can think of one off the top of my head. Dream Girl was something that I came up with the lyrical and melodic motif first. I'm going to show you a couple examples of where I started with a melody or built a melody out of, you know, into the song to create more drama and dynamic. One that comes to my head really easily and off the top is Dream Girl. I came up with that vocal melody and lyrical line first, and as we were building the song, you know, it just made sense that the guitar would repeat, you know, that it would also do the same melody, just to kind of reestablish and reaffirm that yes, this is the hook of the song. So, you know, the chorus was, if I could give up, if I could sing it in key, if I could give up a happy ever after, I'd be gone. So, da 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 da. So when I'm in the studio, I was like, how do I want to do that, just want to follow that. And it's simple, but it's effective. So, and then repeat a couple times. So simple, you know, really simple, not very flashy, but effective. And it also, what that melody did for me later on, you know, so in the studio we record the song and it doesn't really have the big flashy guitar solo at the end, but live, you know, of course we stretch everything out. So it gave me a place to start building from. So, you know, I'd kind of take these different methods of building up the chords that it's sitting on. So it's sitting on C, G minor, and D minor. Back to C. Chords of the song. So just having that melody as something to build off of and to build up on. What I like to do when I have a solo that's really melodic like that, you know, you can build up the speed and intensity. You can play, you know, that melody, you build up to it and play it in a different octave or higher up on the neck. But it's all about the journey, you know, starting with an idea, building upon it, and then coming back to the idea at the apex of the solo. And, you know, I think because people generally, you know, when you can anticipate the change, I know how I feel when I'm watching like somebody take a slow blues solo, for instance, and I know that they're going to go to this 4 just because I know the form and you can anticipate it, but you know they're going to do something, and so when they do it, just something happens in me where I'm like, yes, you know, you know, they delivered, they got to that moment and they delivered. So for me, it's like having that melodic moment and being able to come back to it is like, there's a payoff to it. Another example of how I've used this in my live set, I wrote a song called No Angels from the Belle of the West record. It's kind of a simple blues song. And I solo over that in the show. We do have a C turnaround. and an A turnaround, back into the 1. But so for years, I just kind of would go and noodle around and not really know how to build it up on this 1. So sometimes when you're soloing over just one single chord, it's helpful to create a melody that you can, again, revisit. And this was something that we started doing just kind of naturally. The band sort of fell into it. But there'd be this, and then I go. Right, simple idea, and then I'd go back into blues riffs and just kind of building between that, and then at the apex of the solo, and the whole band would go into that with me. So it's like I'd set up the melody solo, the band would come in, and but we'd go there together. And I don't know, it's just something that I've found, especially when you're soloing over maybe a simple change, just creating some type of melody that gives it a purpose and a dynamic, and you're going somewhere with it and you're saying something. I find that to be really helpful when I'm building solos or when I'm creating solos for songs. So I do want to expand on how slide actually really helps me create vocal, quote vocal melodies, essentially. You're slowing down, you're focusing on single strings, double stops, but it forces you to, just kind of slow down and think really, really melodically. And also the slide's really cool because you can really mimic the nuance of a voice. Whereas, you can get that with a string bend and finger picking, but there's just something so, I guess, gliss about the slide where you can just sort of glide into these notes that you could do vocally, and it sounds even more vocal to me, But that's actually really helped me a lot when I'm creating melodies for my singing, when I'm trying to find something to quote, because it just sounds very purposeful, especially when you're flipping back and forth between the finger picking style and slide. Like the last song I just played for you, No Angels, that's something I do is I kind of slide back and forth between that purposeful melody and then blues licks to build up to the next time I'm going to play that again, hook lines. So slide is incredibly helpful if you're creating melodies that you want to sing to. It's something I've used as a tool for years. Something else that can kind of spark creativity for me is just setting out to write a song in a specific key. Like when I did the Wild Heart record, I was like, I don't really have any, I've got just a couple songs in F sharp. And for whatever reason, I wanted to challenge myself and have a song in every key. So this is the riff after playing around, with the chords and the structure that I wanted to write around, which was pretty much this. Some rock chords. And I had a melody in mind. It was like, ooh, was kind of like the vocal melody I wanted to quote. So I needed a cool riff for the verses. And once I had the chorus that, my chest is pulling tighter, my heart can't open wider, do I have to leave for you to come around? I had that. I was like, I need some cool riff to really just, put it into this vein, this cool hip rock thing. So this is what I came up with. So that was something that I had this top melody in my mind and how I wanted to build the song, and then later decided, okay, I need to create a riff to really complement this. And that's kind of how I came up with it. And really, I just sat down and messed around. And that's, really the best way to come up with this stuff is just to sit around and play, All right, so another song that I started, purely on the riff. I had a chord structure, and I just wanted to build something really, really cool around that. It started in E, and I was like, I just want something that moves like I knew I wanted to create something that moved like that, you know, was powerful and rocky and quick tempo. And so this was the riff that came up with to complement that, but it hangs on the one and then goes into that cool chord progression. It goes. So to wrap up this segment, there's so many different ways to create songs and to come up with melodies. You know, sometimes I'll approach it from a vocal standpoint where I have the vocal melody and then I'll quote it again on the guitar just to re-solidify a melody. Sometimes it's with a really, you know, rockin' or iconic riff that sets the song up. You know, there's so many ways to create songs that are memorable. You just have to find your way. But melody for me has always been, hook and melody are key factors.